Hi, welcome back to Community Conversations. I'm Tina Howard. Today I have some fun peeps with me. I have Lee and Jake Scroggs. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, I'm so appreciative that you agreed to come on the show with me.
Absolutely.
So let us dig right in. We just spoke before the show, and you have been married 14 years. We'll celebrate 15 years in May.
Yes.
It's fantastic. We're 10 years ahead of you, also in May. So we'll celebrate 25 in May.
There you
So
go.
that's great. And how did you meet?
Well, it's kind of a long story, and of course, and my mother-in-law, Jake's mom, loves to tell the story.
And that's Sarah Scroggs.
Yes,
Okay.
she absolutely. She says she's the only one that tells it the best in the best way, of course. But we actually met. They were having a kind of a downtown development, kind of a booster, a kickoff in Cornelia, Georgia, and Jake had just gotten out of the Coast Guard and was coming home. And all of because our parents were in a dinner club together, so our families have kind of known each other for a very long time.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, and I just happened to go with my mom and dad, because we were kind of friends with a lot of the kids, the children of, of our parents that were in the dinner club. And we just happened to, be there and meet each other. Or we were talking to, she and I were talking to each other, and we were talking, oh, well, Jess does this, Jess does that, Jake's younger sister, I'd always heard them talking about that, but never much mention of Jake, because for a while he had been in the Coast Guard.
Is that because you're the second born? Because
I'm first.
No, he's first. He's
See,
the oldest.
never mind. Forget
No,
that.
no,
The
he's the
firstborn
oldest.
gets all the attention.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
But we were just kind of talking to all of the other couples that were there and the friends that were our age.
Now, were you there as well that night?
I was on a date.
Oh, you were on. Were you there though?
Yes.
You were there on a date.
He was there, yeah.
Okay.
But that was the fix. And somehow I don't even remember what we were talking
a date
about,
with
but
me.
it just kind of came up. Oh yeah, Jake, you need to meet my son Jake. I was like, oh yeah, sure. And then she was like, oh well, he happens to be here right now. I said, oh okay, well
Now, you first met him and he was on a date, and so are you thinking, wow, he's cute, I wish he wasn't on a date?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Aw,
I saw him, and it was like that other person. I couldn't even tell you what she was wearing, what her hair color is.
You
It
just
didn't
cut her
matter.
right out.
I did not even see her. Didn't see her there.
Well, my mom
But-
called me over. She's like, "Come here, I want you to meet somebody." The girl I was with stayed behind me.
Now, wait a minute. When your mom says something like that, do you automatically put the shield up and be like,
And I'm like, oh crap.
or did your mom generally have pretty good taste?
No, my mom
Yeah.
generally had pretty
Trusted
good
her
taste.
taste.
Yeah.
I did,
Yeah.
but at the same time, she was on me. This is awful. I would have been home. That was September. No, it was August.
That was August.
That was August.
Because we didn't go.
And I'd gotten out maybe a month. I'd maybe been until August-ish. So that was late August. I hadn't been out a couple weeks. And it was interesting because when I got out, several girls were calling me.
I'm sure that they were.
So when my
Several mamas were probably trying to.
my mom
He
was
was a handsome
quite
man.
upset with me,
But-
and my mom's like, "You need to quit dating some of these people." And
Stop that nonsense and meet
Stop
some
being
nice girls.
Stop being
well, I
a
mean,
ladies' man.
yeah. But
Funny.
after
And
that,
so when you saw Lee, were you thinking, whoa?
yeah, I was like, I need to. So it was funny because I had to call. I called,
I think you had to call my mom and dad's.
but then I called the stump. We had to call some friends of ours to
Yes.
get her number.
To get
You
the
did.
And then I
Yeah.
called. Then I got her mom's number.
Yeah.
So it took me a minute, but after I called, and we went out the first time, I called, cut all the rest of them off.
Oh, that's so nice. So what was your first date like? Was it a dinner? Was it a movie? You remember?
Yeah, it was a movie.
We did both. I don't even know if the restaurant's still there, but I know it was one of the many Mexican restaurants. I think small town America
Yeah.
is known for having many Mexican
That's
restaurants,
right.
as we do in Hartwell.
Right.
But I think we went to, it was one of the better ones there, but I remember that you came and showed up in your at the time, his mom's silver, was it a Z3? BMW.
Nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
clean, spotless. I mean, had it waxed.
Oh, I watched it
it
and
was
cleaned it the day
nice.
before.
It was,
Impressive.
He was, yeah.
And so you were head over heels pretty quick, huh?
Yeah. Well, I was pretty much done from the time that I met him the first time.
That's so cool. What
But
a cool
I
story.
never really,
We were
really
together
told anybody.
6 months when we got 8.
You got engaged about 6
It was
months
about
in?
7 months
7
into our
months.
relationship, I think.
Yeah.
So it was
How
pretty, it was pretty,
awesome.
pretty quick.
Okay, so back up a little bit. You were in the Coast Guard.
I did 4
Did you-
years. So I graduated in 99.
Okay.
Was trying to get in the Coast Guard. I was too honest on the application. I had childhood asthma.
Okay.
They gave me a hard time, so it took me an extra year to get in.
Oh,
So I
wow.
had to go through all that to get in. So I would applied to be a first responder and stuff like that. And I was
wow.
going through that at the time. I got called and said you could get in. So I left in September.
The year after, or after you graduated that September?
So
Or the
that-
year after, rather. Was this something you always knew you wanted to do?
Probably my sophomore year.
It's not that common, so...
No,
you have-
Coast Guard's actually, the Newark Police Department at the time was actually bigger than
Oh, wow.
the Coast Guard, because the Coast Guard was in the Department of Transportation back before 9/11.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And then
Now it's under Homeland Security, isn't it?
9/11 happened, and they got their own,
Yeah,
they're under Homeland Security.
interesting. So, what gave you the idea of the Coast Guard?
Well, I grew up swimming. I mean,
Okay. You're a water bug.
Water bug. I always went to Savannah. There's a Coast Guard station down there,
Oh.
and I've always seen the ships, and
Yeah.
I wanted to do something. And my cousins were in the Army, and I've had friends to do other, and I wanted to go in, but I didn't want to go into a combat role, I guess, per se.
Yeah. You want to be
where
more of
they-
a rescue type?
In the Coast Guard, they more do a job every day,
Yeah.
where all the other branches train to go to war. That's
I gotcha.
kind of all they.
I gotcha. That
Well,
makes
that's what they
sense.
focus on.
Well,
The
that makes perfect sense
so,
for you.
And then,
Was was the experience what you thought it was going to be?
yes and no.
Yeah.
So I was on a ship for 3 years on a 210-foot cutter.
No wonder you dated like crazy when you got home, because you were on a ship with just
Well,
a
that-
limited
I
number of
actually-
people.
Fever.
Well,
Right.
actually, I was with someone for 3.5 years, got engaged, and then broke that off
Okay.
when I moved. The last time I moved in Florida, I went from Cape Canaveral to Sand Key or Clearwater.
Okay.
So the last move, we
last
ended up
move.
breaking off.
Broke
so,
it up. Well, so you were on a ship for 3 years.
well, we would
was
go
tough.
out for a couple months, but we'd be out 3 or 4 months and come back in. But
That's unreal.
we were-
And when
we're-
you come in, is it true that you have trouble standing and walking, or is that just
yes and no. I mean, the first couple times you do it, your equilibrium is. I mean, you do feel like the land is kind of. It's not.
Moving.
You're not gonna fall down, but
it's not like being on a small boat, I guess, that moves a lot more. Okay.
no. But I mean, we got caught in a couple hurricanes. I mean, 45-foot waves. I mean, it was
What?
crazy. Yeah, off the coast of Jamaica. So when I messed my knee up in the Coast Guard,
45-foot waves? That is, how does a big ship go over a wave like that?
they don't.
They're not
It kind of
well-
goes. It doesn't really go over. You
Is
get-
everything moving and falling? And
most of it's tied down.
Oh,
That's on the ship because it's everything is. But no, that's.
is that how you hurt your knee, though?
No, I actually slipped. I was in the galley cooking and spilled something. And the ship shifted and went to clean it up, and I went one way, and my knee went the other way. And
That's
so
tough. So coming out of the Coast Guard, you came back home to kind of get your bearings, I guess, and decide
so
your
my
next
parents, my dad had just taken a job here.
step. Okay, in Hart County for
Hart
the
County.
second time, right?
He took a head coach position here.
And Dad is Joby Scruggs,
Joby
who was
Scruggs,
football
yes.
coach here.
But he was here back in the 80s as an assistant.
So you grew up. Part of your growing up was here.
Yeah, from 87 to 92.
Okay. And then
But I mean, I
other
grew
places.
up on the football field the whole time, so
bet.
it was fun. And then
Bet.
came back here, and I was actually watching the house in Haversham
Okay.
until they sold it.
Okay.
And that's kind of how.
And that's how y'all got together, because that was your stomping grounds.
Yeah.
In Habersham, Cornelia. Did you grow up there?
No, I was there from the time that I was going into the 5th grade until when I graduated
That's
in
practically
'97
right.
in
there.
Habersham, at Habersham Central.
Neat.
But I still spent a good chunk of my life there. But
Yeah. Does that feel like home? When you think of home?
not really. More, I think Athens is more of home.
Okay.
Just from, because I was born at St. Mary's in Athens and was there up until the 5th grade, and then went back to Athens when I was in X-ray school.
Okay.
So I was there for a good little time
So
there.
Athens is home.
Yeah, and then after Jake and I were here in Hartwell for a little while, we moved. After he graduated Emmanuel in '09, we moved back to Athens, and we're there for about another 7 or 8 years.
Hey,
Right.
So it's, I don't know. I consider it more home, I guess, at least growing up.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, Jake, what was it like growing up with the dad football coach? Did it make you love football? Was football your thing with your dad, or did it make you go, oh?
no, I mean I enjoyed it.
Did you play?
I played my sophomore year. I would on the football field for the time running around. I'm like so older coach Devane. Last you can remember me running around when I was 6 or 7, 8, and then. I was a trainer and ball boy coming up, so I was always on the football field. So no, I loved it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I was looking at trying to do a training scholarship possibly. It was an idea at first, and then sophomore year, but we were in Blue Ridge.
Okay.
And I had some buddies taught me in playing, so I played my sophomore year, and then
For your dad?
Yeah.
Was he tough on you?
No tougher than he is, but no tougher than no special treatment, but at the same time, no,
cool.
treat me like everybody else, which is a good thing.
It's the right thing to do, right? What about you in school? Were you athletic, or were you the bookish kid, or what were you like?
I wasn't really very. I enjoyed sports, but I was not very athletically inclined. That was not where. Where I wanted to be out in the spotlight in that sense per se. But
so you're sort of shy.
Yeah, especially then I was a little bit more reserved.
Yeah.
But
were you in the library all the time, reading? Or were you...
I did enjoy a lot of reading. I wish I had more time to do that.
I know, right?
But
I know.
no, I honestly really didn't do much. And I love music too. I never really picked up an instrument that I wanted to play.
Right?
No, when I was young, my dad, who is a piano player, he learned to play from the time he was 4 years old.
Oh wow!
But so he kind of not really coerced, but tried to push me in that direction, hoping that it would catch on in something that would that I could pick up and go with. But it didn't really. It seemed to be like most kids, probably more of a chore than anything else.
Yeah.
But now, because I have a cousin who she did piano and does absolutely beautifully now. It's like riding a bike. You can sit down and just start playing, and I'm like, God, why did I not just push myself a little bit harder and do that now? And of course, hindsight's 20/20.
I know. I wish I had all that piano lessons to do over again. I would have enjoyed them a lot more. I think.
I did band too.
You did band too. You did music and sports, because that's kind of rare. Normally,
well, in middle school, when we were here, I did. Let's see. No, it would have been Blue Ridge. So going up to my sophomore year, I tried different things because in middle school they start you in band.
They automatically start you in band? That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And I played all kinds of things. Never was very good at it because I didn't like to practice.
Well, that's
and
typical.
I liked football, but I wasn't that athletically inclined either.
What was your favorite instrument that you tried that you maybe in hindsight you might have worked a little
Saxophone.
harder? Saxophone.
I enjoyed it. The big one, the
alto sax, the big one.
The big one, yeah. I enjoyed that. It was the drums were fun, but the saxophone I think was
Man.
I know.
I love the saxophone.
I always wonder if I would have done something, if I'd had a choice of what instrument, if something that I would have stuck with instead of being like,
I started off on the trombone.
you know.
Oh yeah, that's
And
tough.
it was very
you gotta
tough.
get your lips right.
It was very tough,
things
and
are
then
tough.
and then I tried the and I couldn't. That was my whole thing. She's like, try we need a alto. Like, I don't know, I'll try it,
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, and I enjoyed it. I got to be okay. I could play okay.
Oh, that's cool.
And then somebody was out on drums. And I was like, so, but it was, I'll try it. So, but after that, I didn't hit high school, and I didn't take it with me.
Didn't stick. I know, because in high school it's tough because you kind of have to commit to one thing or another because
Yeah.
one thing's going to take up your afternoons, and you almost.
I'd rather
can't
be.
do both.
I would rather be on the football field.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to do band
Yeah.
because I was training and learning to.
Yeah.
Because I knew there was scholarship and athletic training, and
Sure.
you could go from there.
And so you were thinking, I'll be an athletic trainer, and there were scholarships available for that, and that was your direction until you decided maybe
Well,
Coast Guard.
Well, no. Then we moved, and
Oh,
my
then you
dad
moved.
quit
Okay.
coaching. We moved to Habersham.
Okay.
And Dad didn't coach anymore,
Gotcha.
so I didn't play football anymore.
So less attractive.
I left it. Well, then I went and joined drama club.
Now, I do know, and as I said right before this, I have seen your picture at the Hart
Oh
County
boy,
Community
yes.
And your mom was instrumental in that
Yeah.
in the beginning, I know, and did a
Yeah,
lot.
my sister and I both were big in the theater, and
Were you in the theater at all in school?
I did some,
Yeah.
a few little things.
Great thing for kids. I was
Oh,
not.
yeah.
I was not because
did
I
a
was,
little bit.
hard as this is to believe, I was very awkward, still am, very shy, did not want to do anything. And so that terrified me. But it's
Yeah.
great if you can do that. It's great. And were you in high school when you did it, or were you after high school when you were in the theater here?
oh no, I was a child.
Kid, yeah.
That was back in when I was little, back from
The first time y'all lived here.
first time from the 80s
Okay.
and early 90s. But no, I and then I did high school in Habersham, and then
And you were in the drama club in Habersham.
and I also took advanced classes, like as a class.
Oh wow. Cool.
I enjoyed that, yeah. And then
Is that something you might want to get back into? She asked, hopefully.
well, I've wanted to ever since, even after I got hurt. But the issue is
Access.
It's not accessible.
Accessibility.
It's tough, especially older buildings. Very tough.
I love Hartwell, but it is very much a not friendly accessibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't think about it until you're in a chair.
Very much
Because
so.
you just, in my head, I think, oh, there's handicap accessible parking spaces because the federal ADA requirements.
Right.
But I don't think about ramps. I don't think about the room to open and put the ramp out to get out of it. And I guess, I'm remiss because I don't have that point of view that you do. But, City of Hartwell, you want a consultant? Just saying.
I'm more than happy to help and to ask. And the sidewalks look great, by the way.
They do.
That is awesome. I'm excited about the
Wait till they're done.
new sidewalks and what they're doing. I mean, it takes time. So
It does.
and
It does.
I understand.
And I think
I
we're gonna
understand
get
that.
there.
Oh, we are. Yeah, we will. We will.
It's tough. And when you have an organization like the Community Theater that's fully donation supported, it's just tough to
I understand
allocate
that.
funds.
It's also been there forever.
It's been there so long before anybody, thought about it. But it would be nice though if you could be active in the theater.
I
again.
would enjoy that.
We're gonna put that on our wish list.
Yeah.
That would be good. So you mentioned when you got hurt, and in case not many people probably know, you were injured after you got engaged to Lee, right? And this was an accident, the fluke accident on a
Dirt bike.
dirt bike.
Down in Durham Town, which is going towards Augusta. It's a track and trails
Okay.
motocross
Okay.
complex.
Were you just out by yourself, or
Yeah, I was with some friends from church, and
that was lucky in hindsight that you
it
were
was.
with people?
It's one of those weird things that I actually had trouble getting a bike cranked, and it's one of those things.
Oh, you think back.
Wish I
that an omen?
was that God saying, "Hey, don't get on that bike."
Right.
But and the clutch got stuck, and I couldn't. when they go around a curve, they call it a fishbowl. It's a real deep turn. And went over it, went up and went down, fell 20 feet and landed on my head.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember the accident itself?
Oh yeah.
You remember landing, or did you just get knocked out?
No, I was conscious.
Fully conscious.
It was weird. I remember hitting, and it was like that hurt, but this doesn't really hurt. And then a guy came. I heard a guy from behind me. I said, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, putting my feet down. And I felt like I was a ostrich in the sand, where my head was stuck in the dirt, like somebody had taken me and jabbed me in the dirt with my feet hanging out. And he's like, "They are down." And I said it like 2 more times. So the third time I said it, I was like,
Something's wrong. Yeah.
so
And you were.
that was
you
March of 04.
And you had the sensation that your feet were up high and you wanted him to break, but they really were on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You just had no sensation. It must have been the absence of sensation that you noticed more than anything else. And your friends were there, thank God.
Well, they were on the head in front of me.
Oh, they were ahead of you. Oh, and so some random guy just happened.
Be behind me on a 4-wheeler. Thank God.
Oh, what were the chances of that? That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, they ended up turning around after.
Yeah, I'm sure they would
obviously
come
about
back,
didn't see me, but no, because I was just kind of taking it slow, being careful. Because I had a bike in the military, but it was a lot smaller.
Yeah.
It was a 125, and it was on a YZ250, which is a huge, much heavier bike.
Okay.
So.
I don't know anything about bikes.
Why don't you just think of, you get a little Miata,
Yeah.
and then you go to like a big sports car, like a big, some with a bigger engine. So
And you put the bigger engine in the little.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, a lot of engine for a small bike. Then.
right,
Okay, I gotcha. So it was.
and it was heavy. So where I was used to being able to, when you ditch a bike, it's easier. A lighter bike's a lot easier to get off of than the heavy one, obviously. So I guess I just wasn't.
This was not, to be clear, a lack of experience on your part. You had been riding for a very long time.
No, I would tell them about a year. It was more the clutch getting stuck and the brake pulled through.
Mechanical failure.
Mechanical failure is what it was. Yeah.
That is tough. That's a tough thing to not think back on and go, should have given up when the bike didn't crank or whatever like that.
But
But you were out, and that, of course, changes the trajectory of where you go. It doesn't mean that you can't be an athletic trainer, but it does change how you think of, where you're going to go. Life, right?
I mean, this became a new normal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. How? This is such a trite question, but how did you adjust to the new normal, the both of you? Is it a process that you're still working on, or is this? Is it 10 years ago or 15 years ago?
15.
15 years.
It'll be 16 in March.
Yeah,
16 in March.
16 in March. I mean, I think.
Yes and no.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you first start out, you have. Absolutely. It's like you can't even, it's almost like you're still in shock. Like, what do I do? How do I go about, my daily life? It's like, literally, it's like you're just almost stuck in a different dimension, a different world. It's like, I don't know how to function. I don't know, but.
Shepherd was great with getting us ready and preparing you to go out in the world and live and do. And on top of that, wonderful support, sports, parents and friends and family and, my faith. And that I think if it wasn't for my faith, I would have been a big deal.
Now, have you always been a person of strong faith? Mm-hmm. So you grew up with that, because I know your parents are very strong in their faith, and so you grew up in that, and you were able to rely on that a lot. I'm sure both of you probably were able to. So
it's just kind of hard to imagine.
It's
not.
Yeah.
Not being.
I don't see how people
in the faith and having to go through that. Even now, even today. Not saying just even though that it's been, 15, 16 years ago. not to say that we don't have bad days.
We
'Cause
still have
we
daily
all have bad
struggles,
days,
yeah.
whether it's somebody that's in our situation or somebody that's not.
People still have bad days.
You know, it happens.
Struggle with your faith. You'd be lying if you said you didn't.
Yeah,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I just got hurt. I've been hurt about 4 weeks in the psychologist because I was in intensive care for 2 weeks. So I'd been up for about 2 weeks and moving around, and I seen the psychologist, and he's like, "How are you doing?" And I was just me. I was fine, doing. And he's like, "How are you dealing with this? Okay? Do you need medication?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Look, man, I'm fine." That's like, I have my faith, and he's like, "Well, you don't need to depend on that." That's like, there's the door.
So he was trying to tell you needed. I guess he wanted some job security.
Evidently,
I guess.
evidently,
I don't know.
but he got laughed out of there. We're like, see, so we all laughed.
Yeah.
We all laughed about that.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Did,
like you're kind of wasting my time.
You're wasting your time and mine because
Yeah.
I don't need to hear this. So.
Well, you, as I said to Lee, when I first was talking with her about the two of you coming on, the one thing that strikes me about meeting when I first met you was how much is going on in your head. Because I sat together at something, a party or an event or something. I don't know what it was. And so we were chatting, and there was so much going on in your head that it was, you had ideas about things, and you would say, "I'm thinking about writing a book." You told me you were thinking about writing a book.
Well, I'm in the middle of writing a book. So,
Yay, I love that.
well, 2, but I have too much going on. Yeah. So it's like you got to focus on one thing, and it's. I had 5 or 6. I've been working on 5 or 6 things for the last 10 years.
Oh wow, that's commitment.
A lot at one time.
And I'm not getting anything done, and it's like, all right, put everything else to the side and focus on one thing. So the last 3 years, I've been working on a tabletop board game.
A tabletop board game?
Yes.
Cool.
So I'm about 75 to 80% done.
Nice.
So.
Will you try to roll it out and get the stores to pick it up? Is that the idea? Maybe
I don't know. I have a connection that's tied to a publisher.
Nice.
So I may go through them. I'm not sure yet. So.
Sounds fantastic.
But,
Now, I predict
I'm excited.
Gen Z, which is the generation below millennials, they're big on tactile things because they were raised with this.
Yeah.
And they're opposite of millennials. They want experiences. They're like, okay, yeah, I have that, but I want to touch this, see this, feel this, be in this. And
I'm totally more hand-eye when it comes to even learning something. You want to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And kind of
visual
things.
person.
So, and you said you were in school for X-ray technician?
Well, I was. I did X-ray for about 11, 12 years.
Oh wow, that's a nice long time.
And then it is, yeah. It's been and it was interesting because I got to go and do a lot of different avenues from, working in the worked overnight over at Ty Cobb way back when for a couple years. Then I've worked in orthopedic offices and and done other hospital, but I really seem to, if I was honest, well, I can't say I really would prefer an office. Honestly, I really like working in the hospital just because it's not like having like a desk job in office, go in and almost doing the same kind of thing every day. You just go in and it's kind of unexpected, like who knows?
You're that St. Mary's.
When you're, it's just that you're dealing with so many things, especially in the hospital. You've got your ER, and then you've got the inpatients, and then you've got outpatients, and who knows what else. A lot of times we would go and deal with the surgery cases too.
Wow.
So, you've got.
That's great. What a great thing to have as your skill and your. Because that can be applicable in a number of places, but especially in a hospital.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's good. So 2 books, a board game. What else?
Anything else?
What else you working on?
Well, there's a couple games in there.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Board games? So you got the board game thing going with 2 or 3 of those
Well, I have
in the
a
books.
role. They call it a role playing game. A role playing
Okay.
game, and then 2 board games. A tabletop game, which is different because a board game you actually pull out of a box and it has a board that think of a board game.
Like a Monopoly.
Right.
Your little
Yeah.
things
Well,
that you
you're
know
right.
about. Okay.
And then, but most people in a board game is quite vast because they have political board games, they have economic board games. They have, there are some larger board game shops in Athens that
cool.
it would blow your mind.
I didn't know that.
The different number of types of board games there are.
Now, what's the difference in a board game and a tabletop?
In a tabletop board game, you actually have scenery and figures, miniatures.
So it takes some time to set up.
Yeah, you're talking a 4x4 table or a 4x6 table.
Okay.
And basically, you have like a cityscape or some kind of terrain,
Yeah.
and then you use dice and tape measures and stuff to measure distance and that kind of thing.
Well, that sounds cool.
So,
It sounds very STEM oriented. Maybe the schools could
yeah.
buy into that and use them. Cool. Oh, very cool. So, what is your day like? Tell me about how, because you have a lot going on that you're doing. How and see, I'm the same way. I have a work that's kind of a flexible. I have to make it happen. There's not somebody standing over me, and I'm not production things.
Yeah.
It's hard for me, anyway, to set my schedule. You know, so how do you stay disciplined and do? Because it's just so easy to.
Well, it's
I'll do
funny.
it later.
There's that. So it's either I can do this later and you blow it off, or I don't leave. Lee's like, come watch TV, and it's 8
You're the
o'clock.
other side.
8 o'clock at night, and she's like, you've been working on it all day. And I'm like, well, got to get this done. You know, it's
You're
like
the other side of me.
it depends on
I
the
might
day. Some days,
I'll have another coffee, or I'll grab lunch early, and then I'll just do stuff for lunch. But you're more like, cannot tear yourself away from something.
when I started in the morning, and I put the coffee next to my
By 9
computer.
o'clock, or I mean, doing it all day. Maybe take a break for lunch.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go and
Of course, that varies, but I just can't imagine
That
looking at a
is-
computer screen for like hours and hours and hours.
Yeah,
going-
how are you not wearing Coke bottle glasses? That's what I want to
I'd be
know.
like, that'd be giving me headaches. I mean, be like, okay, I mean, that's maybe I just get ADD. I'd be like, okay, I got to be around. I got to do something
You
different.
gotta
I'm
move.
just,
You like, okay, so I'm getting this. You like the movement and the doing different
I
things.
have to stay busy.
Yeah, you like busy,
that's
and you
not
like drilling
busy.
way down and getting focused.
I like both, but I guess when I get into it, it's
Yeah,
Do you totally lose track of time when you're doing it?
oh yeah.
yeah.
And so when she says, hey, it's 8 o'clock, come watch TV, you've been at this all day, you're like, have I?
Yeah. Some days, or it's like coming at lunch, and she told me that, and 30 minutes goes by, and I think it's like 2 or 3.
See, that's when you know that
Yeah.
you're doing something that you love.
Yeah.
When you just lose track and you
yeah.
just
get in there. And,
I'm a little bit OCD about stuff too.
oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think we all
When I
are.
was sitting there and trying to, and
Got to get it just right.
just right, and
I'm glad some people are like that because that's not me. But I'm glad some people.
I've redone it. I'm on my 4th or 5th revision. So
Oh, wow. But when do you get it good enough to just go, okay, that's my baby and I'm wrapping it in a bow?
I don't know.
What I'm wondering sometimes.
I don't know.
You'll know when you get
It's
there.
just
Yeah,
not there.
I guess
Yeah, it's just it's not right. Her dad's been a huge help because he's a graphic designer.
Oh, yeah.
Did
And,
graphic design for 30-something years.
Wow, he started back before it was a thing.
Yeah.
He had worked for a firm in Athens for a very, very long time, and I don't think he actually went out on his own doing his own business until we moved to Cornelia when I was going into the 5th grade.
Wow.
Started out of he worked, his office was upstairs in our house. And eventually
so
for
2019.
and for like
That's not-
years and years and years, and then eventually moved over into another office close to our house, but separate.
That's so funny. He had a
separate
modern
place.
job
Yeah.
back in the day. He was
It's
ahead of his
neat.
time.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, there were 2 or 3 people that worked.
It took me out
I
work
think
right
it was right
yeah,
before
under
him. But
you.
yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere. So.
When you were growing up, whose voice do you still hear in your head telling, encouraging you or critiquing you, or who do you hear in your head?
I would
Mom or
say
dad, or-
if not my parents, it would probably be my grandparents, for sure.
Were you close to them growing up?
Yeah, probably closer to my mom's
Yeah.
parents, but yes, yeah, we would spend a lot of. They lived down, had a big farm down in Augusta, actually in Richmond County in Hepzibah. Very
Nice.
country town, but had a beautiful farm. It was about 1,500 acres, and they had
Oh,
this
wow.
big farmhouse where my granddaddy grew up in until
wow.
the time that he went off to the University of Georgia, starting in 1940. But
It was a neat, yeah.
That's awesome. And so you spent a lot of time with them growing up.
We would do that a lot. I mean, go and spend like a week, maybe 2 weeks in the summer. You know, go
that
take
sounds like
little,
heaven.
like long weekend trips, and
Yeah.
because they had all kinds of fun stuff to do around the farm. You know, I mean, they because my uncles and great uncles that were down the road that had a working dairy farm,
cool.
they would come in and actually use a lot of my grandfather's farm to a lot of the land to do hay. So we would have hay bales. The big round ones that I mean, they would line them up and I mean, it was almost like a game, you know, it's like, okay, because I mean, the way they'd have them patterned, it's like, you know, who could jump the farthest, you know, and we always enjoyed jumping hay bales or going to, this is the interesting part, a lot of people think I'm crazy when I say it, but kind of on the edge of their property, it was like a mini version of the Grand Canyon. We called it the Red Gullies because literally, I mean, it was like red clay. It is the coolest
gosh.
thing
It looks like a
ever.
miniature, if you look at it, and especially standing on top of a hay bale looking down, it goes down. It looks like a mini version of like the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
Literally, yeah, it
was
literally
cool
is.
looking.
I mean, it has like little caves. And
Did you sneak down in
run
there
around.
and hide in the caves and all that?
Well, I mean, it would be part of the adventure going
Yeah.
out there, you know, I mean, playing and, you know, I mean, he would have, and sometimes people would come out there and do target practice or hunting for deer or whatever. They don't really like that too
Interesting.
much, but it was cool. I mean, a lot of our family, because a lot of my grandparents' family lived down in Augusta, so a lot of the cousins and the aunts and uncles would come out for the day and we'd go play in the gullies and jump on the hay bales and, you know, just kind of make a day out of it. And it was just really
What do you
fun.
still hear? What are the phrases that you still hear that they might have said?
Oh my goodness. You know, I don't. I'm just trying to. I mean, I know if I was at home, like I know I would think of it right off the top of my head 'cause it's
You'll
funny.
think of
'Cause
it when you
even
get in the
now,
car.
yeah, I probably once we turn the camera
Did they
off.
tell you to be careful, or
But-
did they come in and have cookies, or?
You know, I think it was obviously the grandmothers were like that, but it's funny because Papa would too. I think he was kind of a anxious person too, especially when a lot of us kids were out
liked
there
you babies.
playing
He didn't want you to
around
get
and
hurt.
you know, watch out, don't fall and slip off you, break your leg if you're not careful. You know, quit horsing around, and you know, so we always like to do whatever we could and get in trouble. Of course, I wasn't the one that got, you know, hit with the switches. It was always the boys that did. But, you know, either that or you try to blame it on them so that way they can take the fall for it.
Those switches, man, they were common back in the day.
You
People
know,
now would just they wouldn't believe that, but that's so funny. What about you? When
Fly
most
swatter.
Yeah,
most
fly
influential
swatters.
for you?
Fly swatters.
And there can be more than 2 or 3. However you.
My mom and dad, I guess, really. You know, kind of. I think.
They're good peeps. Is there anything that you think of over and over that they would say? Any advice or anything that they would? If I ever did anything nice for somebody that was just random, I can hear my mother say, "That was good of you." I don't know, it's silly, but that's what she would say. And then my dad would always say things like, you know, watch your spending or something like that. You know, just little things like that I can remember. And grandparents would always say, "Y'all come back."
Yeah.
It was always if you do the right thing, everything else will fall in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That'll preach. That's some good advice.
And 5 or 6 P's, depending on how many.
Yeah. That was one thing that Dad did. I think he used the
Coach
6
Scruggs.
The 6 P's? I don't think I know what those are.
It's probably better to use the 5 P's, but
Yeah, because it can get
prior planning prevents poor performance.
Yeah.
Aha.
There's another version that's not so PC.
Well, it's just
it's more
it's
for
not
the
as
adults.
nice.
Yeah.
It's just not
That's
as
good.
nice.
Prior planning prevents poor performance.
Yes.
Yeah. That's so true. I hate that.
And I can't tell you how many times the older we get that we've said that. Well, of course, and we always know it is the 6 Ps, but still all you have to say. And it's funny because if we do find some of his football players that used his former football players, I mean, you say the 6 Ps and like either they start chuckling or they're like, oh my gosh, like they know.
Remember those?
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
It's good life advice, though.
And you can, yeah.
Good life advice. Now, y'all just had a niece born, a newborn baby. How fun is that?
Sweet Georgia.
Spoil her and give her back. It's good.
Yeah. She is definitely getting spoiled, that's for sure.
Oh, that is cool.
She is.
That's
She
sweet.
is such an
Every
angel.
time we see baby clothes or something, it's like, all right, let's go get Georgia something.
Oh, it's hard not to do that,
It
you
is.
know. We were in Belks. My sister and I were in Belks one day, and they had baby clothes on the rack. And the woman said, "See this? We're having a sale. This is only $4." And I almost bought it. I don't have babies in my family right now. I can't, except for Georgia. I could have got her, but I couldn't think. But I wanted it so bad.
Well, and they're so cute, especially, and I'm not saying, you know, not trying to diss on boy clothes or anything, but girl
But there's not
clothes-
many boy clothes.
The girl
really.
clothes are just so much cuter, you know, all the pink and the purple and the bright colors and
tell
all the
ya.
ruffles and everything. So
We
it's
are
just-
suckers for that too, women. We will buy that anytime. That is so fun. So what else? Let's see. You, your X-ray career. Do you think that's something you might go back to? Because I know you've done some pharmacy tech
Yeah,
stuff
I did
too.
that for, you know, I mean, after I did the 12 years in X-ray, I was like, you know, maybe it's time for a new adventure, and I did. I did pharmacy tech for about 2.5 years.
That's
figured
more-
out-
Same thing, same day, right? Doing this.
Pretty much. You know, I mean, there even with that, there's different avenues. You know, I mean, you can work within a pharmacy within a hospital, or you know, just doing retail or mom and pop. And I've kind of done I started out at CVS for a little while here in Hartwell,
Okay.
and then went to a mom and pop over in Elberton, and really enjoyed that. A little bit different atmosphere. You know, not as so much. You know, trying to just
Keep up
dispense
production.
it. Let's get it out,
Yeah.
get it out, get it out. Yeah. So you have a little bit more interaction with the patients and the customers coming in.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know, I've thought sometimes about going X-ray, but then at the same time, I'm like, well, you know, it's like maybe there's another plan for me to do something different. I mean, as much as I enjoyed it, I was like, you know, maybe it's just something. You know, been there and done that, and maybe I just need to find something different to do. So I don't know. I've thought about and looked into doing medical coding, possibly.
Is that like invoicing? How it codes invoicing?
I think it's like coding for maybe like certain procedures or certain things like that they do, whether that's in the hospital or you know in a doctor's office or
Sure. Yeah. Gosh, I
anything
would
like
imagine
that,
there's a need
so-
for that too.
Yeah, I was, you know, and it's, and we have a cousin that does it, and she really enjoys it. And one of the things, and they have almost a year old in November, a little girl, but I think the flexibility of it.
Yeah.
And I know she sometimes, when she does have office hours, but I think she also is nice to where she can work from home. You know, I
that'd
mean,
be
if you're
nice
kind of
too,
plugged
yeah.
into the same system that they use.
Yeah.
So that
be able
part,
to
that
either
part
go in
kind
or
of
work from
appeals to me, the more of the flexibility that way. You know, I mean, I can put in the hours to do that, and then that way, if he's got doctor's appointments or
Yeah.
whatever appointments we have, you know, that we can take care of, or you know, if I need to go and help babysit with Georgia, you know,
Right.
if Jess
Have
needs
some more
something or somebody else needs other things they need to attend to. So I don't
is
know.
awesome.
It's a thought. You know, I'm still I think young enough to if I need to.
Well, it's
you know,
funny
so.
because you haven't really had time to get into that because you've just now gotten your house kind of set up and
Yes.
they're near town, which is awesome.
Yes.
Because I saw you on the sidewalk the other day,
Yeah.
and so you're,
He likes to zip around.
yeah, you're going faster than my car, by the way.
Yeah.
There's,
Stuck in traffic.
there's a speed limit there, by the way.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like that. From
There's still a few parts of the sidewalk that need some work around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that movie from Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights. I want to go fast. I want to go fast. I think that's his motto. So I'm sure a lot of people see him zooming around
After-
town.
yeah,
but, you
after
know,
my-
so.
So what, 2 years ago, September, right?
So you told me that coming in, and I of course knew that, but you had a car accident. on 29, right?
Yeah,
On old
A couple years ago.
2 years ago. I'd actually, I had real bad lymphedema before that.
And lymphedema is swelling.
In the lymph node, in the lymphatic system, which is the part of the body that gets rid of the bad fluid,
The toxins
the
and
toxin gets rid of it. So mine was just building up.
Was that before the accident?
I was at Shepherd for 3 months.
Because I do remember this time period because you couldn't catch a break,
Yeah.
it seemed like to me.
I got
You
real
had the
sick.
lymphedema, and there aren't many people who specialize
No.
in that.
Well, it's more the it's more the being a quadriplegic and having that
The combination.
of the two. They don't like, because I have no feeling below where the lymphatic problem is. They don't like to do that. And thank God that Shepherd has started doing that now.
Oh, thankfully,
And
because
they
you're
were-
not the only one.
No, right. And they were strictly outpatient.
Okay.
And luckily, I was the first patient, and it was so bad, and they took me in specially as an inpatient
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they
for
have,
for 3 months. So,
That's tough.
but
Because you had the VA, which at the time was like, no, we don't do that.
they don't know. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
They have nobody down there that can do
No
that.
expertise in that.
And then Shepherd was just starting that program, and so you were first one in the door.
Yeah.
It's for that extreme.
Yeah. To that level.
With that level. So
Wow, that's amazing. And again, as bad as that must have been, were you somewhat happy to be going back to Shepherd?
it was bittersweet.
Yeah.
It was. If I was gonna have to be somewhere, it would want to be at Shepherd.
Yeah.
And I was there for 3 months by myself.
Yeah.
I mean, they came and saw me, but on a daily, weekly basis, I was there by myself.
You handle things so well, and you've got such a great presence of mind and state of mind that you're kind of chill about a lot of things. But did that trigger bad memories going back the second time?
Not really.
Good.
I met a lot of folks there, and I know there were people there when I was there that helped me. And that was kind of my goal. If I'm
Yeah, that's awesome.
be there and try to help someone else out, make their life easier, and learn.
bet you had the chance to do
I
that.
had met several people. You know, learn to, because it's not a club you want to be in, but once you're in it, you're in it. And I think support each other, and not just being hurt or quadriplegic, but just in life.
Yeah. Yeah. You do have that, to me. You have that, you have almost a shepherd's mentality. Not the Shepherd Clinic, but a shepherd's mentality. You care about people, and that comes through. Do you ever think about working with kids or any kind of work like that? I know that you like your games and stuff.
No, I know, but I volunteer some at the high school.
Yeah. Because I imagine that you would be a pretty cool role model to a young person.
Thank you.
So they would probably think that you were cool and want to hang out. Because you're still, you told me your age before the show, which is
39.
Which is a lot older than I thought you were for some reason, because you both seem so youthful to me.
Thank you.
But I think the kids would also think of you as almost a peer in a way, even though you're a good deal older than them, because you're cool and you relate to
Yeah,
people.
well,
And,
especially at the high school.
Yeah.
I would think so.
yeah. Well, I think that would be a really neat thing, because I think you would be somebody they look up to, and it doesn't have to be kids.
Oh, yeah. I understand. So.
Yeah. So, well, that's cool. And Shepherd was able to get you through the lymphedema.
They got me back and got me in some lymphedema stockings, which fixed it. Which
Game changers, right?
Life changing.
Wow.
It was sad that it took 10 years to figure out that's all I needed.
Yeah.
Oh my
I think
gosh.
it may have been over 10 years. At least 10 years.
Yeah, 10 or 11, yeah.
Yeah.
But
they didn't even make those in this country, right?
they make them, but the ones I have were made in Germany.
Okay.
But they have silver in them.
Okay.
It helps with infection.
What does the
Yeah.
silver do?
It helps
Keeps-
with infection and
Okay.
that kind of thing. It's a microbial, which
Antimicrobial
Right.
kind of thing? Okay. That makes sense.
So, yeah. I don't know why that does that, but if there's the silver that's actually, and
silver.
you can actually see the silver that's woven into the garments. I mean, he's
It's
got
like
them on now.
they
and
make
really-
a
you can
cream
see
called
it.
Silvadene, and they put on cuts and things.
Oh, I've heard of that.
So same
Yeah,
kind of
same
concept.
It is that, or for us, we call it the miracle cream. I mean, you can put only
Yeah.
kind of cuts, burns, scrapes, anything. I'm telling you, I mean, I
Well, we
swear I
keep
think
it
it
around-
cuts down
I would too.
half.
Yeah. I would too. That's
But,
smart.
But so after I'd not worn shoes in probably 10 years.
Yeah,
Because of the lymphedema?
Because
Because
my-
if that wasn't something that came on
Yeah.
you suddenly. You
No,
you dealt with
I've been
that.
dealing with it for like
Oh, my
11, 12
goodness.
years, and they 70 pounds of fluid. Was what they got off of me.
70 pounds?
70
70.
pounds.
Yeah, so he lost 100 pounds total, but 70 was from the fluid.
So my feet were like the size of watermelons. And
I do remember when they
Yeah,
were very
I mean, it
small.
basically looked like
Small
the
little
Pillsbury
fridge,
Doughboy. I mean,
little-
big
yeah.
old.
So
they're
shoes were
pretty.
not something
No.
you could.
Well, I mean,
if I
he-
remember right, you had shoes on coming in here.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he got to the point where you even when it got so bad, you couldn't even wear socks.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it was.
I just would cover my feet up with
Now,
blankets and
and
stuff.
don't you
Yeah.
have the skin only stretches so far? So did you have to treat the skin on your feet too?
Thank God I never had any. Right at the very end, right before the shepherd, I was starting to get sores on my legs.
Yeah,
But how
I know.
You were protected.
grace of God, they didn't break open. And then now I have a huge shoe collection.
Do you have just this shoe shopping thing that you want to do all the time now?
I think
Kind
we're
of.
gonna have to build just our own, just
be-
our own
I'll be
closet. No,
quiet.
I'm not saying just yours. I'm saying both of ours. I mean, I've had a shoe problem forever, but especially now since Jake's been able to wear shoes.
But the problem
Like
in the
we're busting
van,
at the seams.
when I was driving, my shoe, I had a spasm, and my shoe got hung up under the brake, and I couldn't. When my hand controls, you push forward, and the lever pushes down and pushes on the
I saw
brake.
the actual brake.
And the shoe, my leg spasmed, and it kicked the shoe off, and my heel was on the back of the shoe,
Yeah.
pushing up,
Yeah.
and it was pushing between the
So you
brake.
couldn't put the
I
brake on.
couldn't all the way.
Yeah.
Now, did something run in front of you? Is that what it was?
No, there was a car coming
Oh,
down.
a car.
And it was either hit them or go into the bushes where I went. And I didn't want
Yeah.
anyone else to be harmed, so
Right.
I said a little prayer and ditched in the bushes.
Wow. Holy cow. Were you badly hurt in the
I broke 7 bones. I broke my elbow and both. What all did I break down?
You had, it was the right side, of course, with that one. For some reason, the right side took the brunt of it, but he had his leg was broken down at the ankle, and then it was right slightly below the knee, right above the knee on the right side, and then the left leg, I think it was broken down at the
Ankle.
ankle,
legs broken.
and then of course you can see the scar on his arm. He had
Yeah.
it right there, right up above the elbow. So it was.
Yeah, well, the guys like
a lot.
because we didn't find out. They
I think it was like, because that accident was on like a Thursday or Friday. Like we didn't, for some reason, didn't find it was like over the weekend somehow. And I don't know if maybe my radiology kind of kicked in, and we were putting his foot down
we knew I
on his
broke my
wheelchair.
arm, but we didn't realize my ankles were broken.
But I was just like the way his leg or his feet were sitting, and I was like, that's not normal. There's
Right.
no way, And I looked at both his ankles, and I told his dad, I said, look, Dad, I said, I'm gonna tell you, I said, you go and get him to do an X-ray, a CAT scan, or whatever they need to. I said, I'm gonna tell you right now, both of his ankles look like they're broken.
Oh my goodness.
And I went
they
and
went and
said,
did that.
both are broken. And they said, you got 2 broken legs. You worried about that? I said, no, I'm worried about my arm. He said, why? I said, because I use this to drive. I'm not using these.
Well, it looks like you have fine mobility with that. That didn't
pretty
cost you
good.
then.
It did,
did?
but it's not a little bit. It's tight and stiff, and from time to time the pins will move.
Yeah,
It can be painful, but
hardware.
and it gets, so. But overall, I mean, I'm thankful to have as much as I do.
Yeah.
for sure.
Good therapy and stuff. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
physical therapy. Yeah, absolutely. Gosh. So let's talk a little bit about future. I can't believe the hour's almost up. Can you believe that? That was
flying
mercy.
by.
future stuff. We'll pay attention to your books. At least 2 books.
If I can get them out, I can get them done.
Books or game, I'm not really.
Now, would one of the books be autobiographical by chance? I hope.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
Because if anybody's got a story, it's you.
It's a fictional story that when people read it, it's basically about a guy who gets hurt in the
Okay.
same way I get hurt. So
Okay.
if you know me and you read this
You can
book,
see the
you
pieces
can
of
see
it.
the pieces of it.
Yeah.
Please
Because
finish that.
Oh, we want him to so
that's
bad.
that was everybody's wanting me to
But I
finish
know
that
it's
one.
got to be difficult. too, so.
That's another reason.
Yeah.
Another reason I put it aside.
Yeah.
I got to the part in it where I got hurt.
Yeah, and then that's tough.
just,
I was in, I didn't do my practicum in grad school because I wrote about something personal. My professor told me don't do it.
Yeah.
But did I listen?
No.
Nope. And I could never finish it because I couldn't
Yeah.
get through it.
Yeah.
And I let that lapse. Please don't do that. Don't be me.
Yeah.
Because that's a story to tell. I mean, you're here for a reason, and that's a story.
But
That's a story.
but somebody's like, get somebody else to write that part of the book for you.
Yeah.
Well, now that's a great idea.
So
Well, you
talk
could.
to kids.
They could write it from
Well,
a different point of view.
they said
or
between
something.
you and mom and dad.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
So,
I was going to say, because I know I journaled a lot during that
So-
time. And I could
Yes.
go back and find notebook after notebook after
but
notebook.
it's funny I could talk about it
Stuff.
being
Sure.
hurt,
Yeah.
but I start writing it down. And it's just
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
Well,
I
but
could
I mean,
never
just
get
kinda
through.
dwell
But
on it a little bit more.
hopefully you'll get around that.
yeah.
By
but
talking it out with
I'd like to get my goal is to get this game done by next November.
Oh, cool.
Be on the shelf by November.
Okay. For
or
the holidays.
If not, at least contracted. Just someone pick it up.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna start back in the book.
Okay. Well, I will look forward to both of them
Well, thank you.
and anything else that you might do.
Yeah.
Because you are such a productive person and such a and engaged in the community. For both of you are just engaged and such a fun couple to be around. So
Well, thank you.
thank y'all for coming out today. This was so
Sure.
fun.
It's enjoyable. Thanks for having us
Very
again.
much. Thank you so much for having us.
And I enjoyed it today, and we will see you again next week. Thanks.